Welcome to Brewed Perspective. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Kyle. Every week we sit down with a fresh cup of coffee and have an in-depth conversation about the world around us.
We'll explore different perspectives, discuss current events, and delve into a variety of topics, all while sipping on a delicious cup of brew.
So grab your favorite mug and join us for another stimulating conversation here at Brewed Perspective.
All right, welcome back.
Newsweek. What do
And,
we got today?
we were discussing the Havana syndrome here a couple weeks ago. Feels like
Is that what they thought? Like the government was
of
sending
Cuba
signals
was
or something?
yeah. They thought like the Cuban government was screwing with our people down there.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they released a report the other day, and they decided that no government did it.
Shocker. So who conducted the interview or the report?
Our government.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least we did it.
Yes, if you can trust our government, then at least we did it.
You
It said their report said that with varying degrees of confidence, they deemed it was unlikely that a U.S. adversary had such capabilities.
It's an odd way to say that. Varying degrees of confidence.
Yeah. They're saying that there's no credible evidence that anyone has a weapon or device that can do this.
I mean, you would think that if someone had this device, that this would be used outside of just Cuba.
Well, it was across the world. It just
really?
started.
Oh,
there.
that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember now.
Yep. So I don't.
Have none of the other countries done their own investigation?
Oh, I'm sure they probably have to, or they're still doing investigations on it.
Right.
Who knows? But we have determined that it was just crazy, weird things that happened. Like they're saying, basically pre-existing conditions, conventional illnesses, and environmental factors.
I mean, how did they even think that somebody from another country was being affected by this?
What do you?
Because you stated that this was in other countries too.
Yes, well, it spread. Initially, though, it was just like our embassy
Right.
in Cuba.
Right.
So
So it spread outside of Cuba, though.
yeah.
That's my point. Like, how I mean, what was their reasoning for thinking that this could be directed outside of their country? Like the way microwaves could actually go that far?
No, they were just saying that it was happening in other countries after this. So I guess they were thinking that other governments or outside government type of villains were doing it.
Oh, villains. Ooh.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean,
Super villains?
that was the thought process that, hey, wait, this is not just happening in Cuba; it's happening other places. So I don't know. Maybe it was aliens.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that anymore.
Yeah, we can still say aliens.
No,
They just don't fly.
that's
and
bullshit. If I can't say UFO,
You
you
can't.
shouldn't be able to say aliens.
You can say it. I don't care. You say whatever you want to say, buddy.
UAV? Is that what it was?
UAV. That's right. So Ukraine. It's weird. We're going to talk about Ukraine war.
Again, it's like in the news every week. It's kind of hard to miss, though.
We just passed a year into the combat over there. And basically, what we're seeing is that a majority of Americans now are starting to disagree with our involvement. Good, I guess, because that goes along with what I agree with.
Right.
I'm in the majority for once. Wonderful. So
Maybe you just think of things the right way first, Justin.
that's right.
And then people move that way.
Yes,
You're not a communist.
What? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This I don't even know. All right, so this was a comment on something, some video, and somebody commented that that we're a bunch of
You can PG it.
Russian loving or Putin loving commies, and
It's all about Trump.
we're Trump humpers or something, and
Which we've never been.
We-
I mean, I thought he was okay, but I've never
yeah,
like been like a huge Trump advocate.
I am definitely not a huge
I want
Trump
I want
advocate.
DeSantis to run for the presidency.
I am a conservative libertarian,
Right.
as we've stated. Um, I am not a Joe Biden supporter, so I guess that makes me a Trump humper.
By default, yes.
Weird. But anyway, we don't deserve to have our skin or some shit. I don't know. It was a fucking weird comment. Um,
Hey,
and
keep
I
them
don't,
coming. It is very entertaining.
dude, that one wasn't
I
because I was like, what the fuck is
well
this?
half of it I could barely understand.
Yeah, it would.
Like wasn't coherent sentences.
No, it looked like they started a comment, and then this was like a second part, and then there was a third part, but then they deleted the first and third part.
It's a shame. It's a shame you couldn't see what he deleted.
So, anyway,
Hey man, you're gonna say something. Don't delete it. Like leave it up. Let
Yeah.
us at least read it, comment back.
well, I generally don't comment back because you're not worth my time when you tell me that I'm a Trump humper.
No, I want to poke the bear.
Yeah,
I want to see what else he has to say. Maybe we should comment him back now.
I think it was some chick.
I thought it was a guy.
Maybe it was same thing. Who
Yeah,
cares?
who cares?
Anyway, so looking at the dollar amounts.
This is frightening.
So this basically this is a figure that just takes us, oddly enough, from January 24th of 22 through November 20th of 22.
So this isn't even current.
Well, it's not current. This number I have for you isn't completely current, because we have
Well, I mean, it's
given or promised more aid since then.
Well, I mean,
But-
it's already missing December through
No,
current, right?
Yes, but my thought process on this was the invasion did not begin until February, and we're counting financial aid we gave to them in January.
Well, technically, the
I don't-
Ukrainian government's the one who's stating that the U.S. leads all countries, not the U.S. Like this report states that it's coming from. This was a Ukrainian government.
Yeah, okay, no, and that's fine. I guess what I'm getting at though is just like why I don't remember. It's been a year, but why were we giving them financial aid before they were invaded?
Yeah,
Because I thought we were under the understanding that Putin had his troops on the border, and they're like, remember they were saying
Right.
that there was military exercises, and you guys are crazy. We're not invading. Like,
yeah. Well, I remember seeing articles last year about how much money we had given Ukraine, but I don't recall what the reasoning behind it was.
I'm pretty sure that
Maybe it was like in preparation for the potential of war. Maybe we were sending funds over for defense at that point in time. I'd have to go back and read the articles, but
will you go back and read them?
I might. I
don't
mean,
think you will.
Ukraine's literally like half our news here lately. So,
Yeah, but I just
or how about you look it up?
no.
Fine.
So I don't remember, but I know that we give them money all the time. We give all kinds of countries money all the time.
I will say this did make me feel a little bit better from some of the other
Like-
graphs that I've seen about how much some of the other
European countries
yes,
and stuff have
because
contributed. Yeah.
the one that I had seen prior was not even close. So this was a little more reassuring.
so-
Germany being one of the large ones as well.
Yeah, so basically this is saying in this time span, U.S. Has contributed $196 billion in total military and financial and humanitarian.
And that was
aid, right?
just as of November 20th, 2022.
right. So
So
we're
prior to the
I
last
mean
several
we're
months.
well over.
Oh yeah.
Right, because I thought just the other day, didn't Biden go over there and say that we were going to give him like another 500 million?
Yeah, it was like a $500 million. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I feel like every week they're like, "Hey, we're throwing more money," but I'm pretty sure that the U.S. put Zelensky in power anyway. I'm pretty sure that went down. We're like involved in everybody's elections. I feel like our little shadow government is.
I mean, hey, we're involved in our own elections,
Dude, it's weird, man. Like, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is.
Hey, I got like one of those mail-in things in the other day. How do you feel about the mail-in voting? While we're on the
Um,
topic of ballots, anyway.
I I am okay with mail-in voting to an extent. Um, the you know how you have to request a mail-in voting ballot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't request one, and I got one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You should. That used to be the way it worked for everyone. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure every state was set up like that. That if you wanted a mail-in ballot, you had to request it. This is pre 2020.
Right.
After that, then states all went crazy on it because of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic,
Right. Right.
and some states just sent them out to all registered voters. Some just picked and choose who they sent them to.
Well, I'll say this: living in Illinois, tons of people got them that didn't request them, and it's a Democratic state,
Yeah,
and the mail-in vote tremendously helped.
but
So
generally, no. Generally speaking, though, I am for going to your polling place and voting on election day
right,
and showing a valid ID.
yes,
I don't understand where this became such a big fucking issue and it became like a racist issue. What? What do you mean? Anybody can get a government issued ID.
right.
Anybody can. Like, so it doesn't have to be a driver's license. It
Well,
can be
and
a government issued ID with your signature on it.
there was even a huge argument with the prisoners being allowed to vote and trying to use the mail-in ballots as an excuse for them to be able to vote with the mail-in
You know
ballots.
what? Yeah, that's. I thought.
Do you feel that prisoners, like if you're in prison, that you still have you should still have the right to vote?
I think so, and I know that I kind of stand alone on this, but I think so. Like because you went to prison, we did a lot of episodes on people that were falsely imprisoned.
Oh, this is true. That's true.
So now you're taking away more of their rights,
Yeah.
their constitutional rights.
Well, just because
does
you're in
it
jail,
say-
that shouldn't take
That's
away
what
every
I'm
right
saying.
you've
Is
got.
there something in the Constitution that I'm not aware of that says that if you were incarcerated, you're not allowed to participate?
But they do that with things though. There are restrictions put on people
No,
with lots of things
I
with
know-
crimes.
like-
I mean, you get a gun restriction if you've
Yes.
got certain crimes,
Yep.
or drug charges and
Yep.
things like that nature. So it's like that's a constitutional right
I
that they
agree
take away
too.
as well.
And
So
I'm same way. Why?
yeah,
If you have served your time and you are released, then you should have all of your rights. Like why are
Right.
why are they keeping your right to bear arms? If you're not trusted with that, then you should not have been released. How about that?
what if you're a murderer and you get released?
Okay.
Okay,
So
you think
how
they should be
long
allowed
how
to have a
long
gun?
were you in prison for? Did they just put you in prison for 1 year and they're like, okay, you did your time?
No, say somebody
So-
served 30 years. Do you think somebody gets out of jail in 30 years for murdering
Yes.
somebody that they should get a gun back?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Well,
Because you have served your time.
That's fair.
And if you commit another crime, then we will take you back to
well,
prison.
it's basically like I understand your point of view here because it's basically like punishing them prior to performing
Right.
a crime. I mean,
That's like
if
the
you,
red flag laws
Right.
that they have.
Well, it's just like the gun issue right now. It's like, okay, so if you've been committed of a crime or, how they even do it with like restraining orders. If you have a restraining order, that you're not allowed to purchase a gun or own a gun. So it's like, but
whoa.
yeah, that is a law. If you have a restraining order against you in any way, shape, or form, they no matter who it's against, what it's for.
Is this a state by state basis?
I believe so, but almost every state abides by this
No shit.
because their fear is that if you have a restraining order, you're crazy and you're going to go shoot somebody. So their thought is, well, then we're just not going to let you have a gun. Not like you can't get a gun 1,000 other ways if you actually want to do something. But that's their thought process, and they'll put a restriction on it.
That's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on
Well,
it.
but it's just like that. Okay, so they're putting a punishment on you prior to an act.
Yes.
So-
it's like the whole Minority Report thing,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah,
The
look
future
at
crimes?
you making a movie reference again. I'm proud. I'm proud of you today.
So
That's like the third or fourth movie reference you've made in the last few podcasts.
Yeah, but no, I don't agree with that at all either. Like,
Well,
because
it's
I say that if there is a reason, if there is a legitimate reason that you should not have a weapon that you are constitutionally allowed to have, then there should be a reason that you're in
you
jail
should be in jail.
already.
Right. Right. If there
So
is a fear enough that you shouldn't have a weapon, then you should probably
then
be in
that
jail.
then yeah, maybe you should be. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know how you. I don't know what how you.
my issue is the inconsistencies. Okay, like go one way or the other with it and stick with it. You know, there's you want to
Well,
allow.
don't go the wrong way.
Well,
Go
clearly,
my way.
clearly, I know which way I want to go with it. But like, I'm stating that like there's so much inconsistency with how they do things that it's like how can you say one way's right and then the other way's wrong, but they conflict with each other. It's confusing.
I suppose so. uh,
Moving on.
so back to Ukraine. $196 billion is how much they said that we have contributed. Germany came in at 172 billion. So,
It's not bad.
uh,
Now, again, prior to the war, right?
well, start. It's the same time reference there from January through November.
So, what was the actual start date of the war?
God, I don't know.
I mean, approximately, it was in February, right?
It was the end of February, like February 26th or something like that.
Okay.
So anyway, but this is like basically a month before the start of the war
Okay.
is when this time frame starts for some weird reason.
Well, I mean, they must have known that this was coming. Maybe they were gearing up for defensive
Right.
purposes.
So 196 from us, 172 from Germany, and in that same time span, the rest of the world contributed less than 75 billion in total aid. The rest of the world.
Shame on you guys.
Well, or
I
maybe
mean, or maybe good on you
props to
guys. Actually,
guys.
you know,
Yeah,
we're the people over here giving money away we don't have.
crazy, crazy. So anyway, but in Ukraine, so we talk about our government, but let's also talk about our big business.
Okay.
So they stopped all this natural gas coming from Russia.
Right.
Okay. And guess who started supplying natural gas to Russia or to Europe?
Us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we did.
At least we saw a profitable venture, huh?
Yeah. So basically,
So the gas companies are just making more money at this point.
yeah, and all of the people who trade in it, right?
Oh, well, of course.
And so you got like BlackRock, J.P. Morgan,
Goldman
Goldman
Sachs.
Sachs, right? Yeah. So basically, we are horrible, horrible business people over here. I mean, they're doing what's smart for them, right? But it's like it just seems the collusion between the companies and our government, the way we've done things,
Especially with the oil companies. They're in the gas companies. There's so much incentive for them to work together on things. It's kind of frightening.
right. So basically, I think it was something to the tune of 20% is what we were exporting, and now we're exporting 60% to them.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. So it says ExxonMobil, they reported a $55.7 billion profit last year, the highest in its history. Like in 2008, they profited 45 billion. That's when gas was or oil was $150 a barrel.
Right.
And now they're up to 55.7 billion.
I'm curious. I wouldn't say the gas prices are low, but I'm curious how they've kept gas prices relatively stable during this because they've hovered between 3 to 350 this entire last year, and with us exporting that amount of
well, we've got so much natural gas.
Well, natural
Yeah,
gas.
we're sitting on it. I mean, so they
Okay, this is natural gas, not oil. So,
well, I mean,
I mean, yeah, okay, it's all the same area, but I mean, like, you would think this would have had a drastic impact on our,
well, we went from $2 a gallon to $4 a gallon, and now we're just hovering around 3.30 or so.
unless you go to Petersburg. I don't know what magic they're doing. You guys don't know who this is, but it's like this tiny little town in Indiana, and somehow they're like 50 cents a gallon cheaper than anywhere else I go to. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know. But let's get away from Ukraine for a bit.
Okay.
So this Lori Lightfoot from Chicago,
You despise this woman.
dude, I hate this fucking cunt.
Hey, language.
Is she not?
I don't know her. I mean, some of the comments she's made, it's kind of frightening, but
I'm pretty sure at one point she said that she said my dick is bigger than yours.
To who?
It was a call with. So basically, what happened here? They had removed a statue of Columbus from the park.
Okay.
Okay. And now there's a parade going on, and they wanted to put the statue in the parade.
Okay.
And so they submitted a application for it or whatever, and someone on the park board or whatever said, "Oh yeah, that's fine." And then she finds out about it and loses her shit, and she just went on this freaking tirade where it was just, "You D's, F you D's, my D's bigger than your D,"
Wow.
if that's how you want to say it. She went pretty crazy.
Man,
She
anybody else
is,
would be getting roasted for this online.
dude, she's a class act, man.
Not
she-
after reading that.
Oh yeah, she's great. So anyway, I don't really care about that, but remember, she was also the one who she wanted to defund the police, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then she kind of walked that back a little bit. But she also she was the one that was only accepting interviews to reporters of color. Right? If you were a white reporter, you would not be granted access for a one-on-one interview with her. Yeah. So, anyway, she's up for re-election.
I'm
right?
I'm all for promoting minorities, but things still need to be equal.
Yeah, and that's not equal at all. That's the complete opposite of equal. This
Right.
is saying there's not a chance that you're going to get this interview if your skin is a certain color.
Yeah,
The fuck out of here.
it's a shame.
But anyway, so she's up for re-election again, right? And so we're doing our little thing. So the way it works, you have to secure 50%, right? And if nobody secures 50%, then your top two go to a runoff. And she didn't even make the top two.
Oh, so she's out.
She's out, man.
Oh, what a shame.
She will not retain her mayorship.
Thank God.
Yeah. So the problem is,
Someone making those kind of comments shouldn't be in office to begin with.
well, yeah. But she's celebrated throughout Chicago, right? Because she made history by being the first black woman to be mayor and also the first lesbian to be mayor. So we're celebrating her. And basically she kind of is like all of Biden's cabinet, where we
Right.
don't care about your credentials just as long as you are not a white male. That's
Right.
basically how he picks his cabinet.
I mean, it's cool that she got voted in. She is a minority. She made it that high up, but it's like at the same time, it's like, man, you're not doing a good job, and your comments are as brash as some of the stuff that Trump would say.
Yeah, and
I mean,
honestly, I don't know anything about Lori Lightfoot prior to her becoming mayor of Chicago. I feel like she was a lawyer of some sort.
Probably.
And maybe she ran on a pretty decent platform and got elected. I'm just throwing that out there that she's like Biden's cabinet. but maybe she deserved to be elected based on what she was running on. But she's done a shitty job,
Well, yeah.
horrible.
I mean, when you go look at it from a pure performance perspective, like that still needs to be taken into account. Like if you look at stats and things of that
Mhm.
nature with her in office, I know we looked at this earlier. It's like even the crime rates were a little ridiculous how
So,
much they soared.
so the only thing since she was elected through last week, the only thing that has improved is criminal sexual assault is down 2%, and burglary is down 18%.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, hmm.
Some of these others are like frightening how much they went
The
up.
total crime has increased 60%. 60%.
And that's in 4 years. In 2 years, it was
Yes.
102%.
Yes. 60% it has increased. Shooting incidences increased 43%.
Now let's look at this. Okay, so the crime rate's gone up in a town where she was literally trying to defund the police.
Yeah, and that's why. And she walked it back though.
So
She was just trying to, jump on that bandwagon where everyone wanted to defund the police.
right.
Um, and then I think she got hit with a little dose of reality. I mean, she did have all kinds of.
You would have to put this into perspective with population increases too. I would be curious to see
Chicago has lost population.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, even worse then.
Yes. Well, they're declining. Most of your major cities are declining in population
Right.
since 2020.
Right.
Right. So they're no exception. But their crime rate has gone up. So
I'd be curious to see how it compares with some of the other high crime rate cities in America.
yeah, I mean, hell, you could probably look at Indianapolis before long.
Yeah, they're getting there.
Uh,
They're all gonna look like Detroit before
yeah.
before it's over with.
So anyway, I'm glad Lori Lightfoot got out of there. Because she is horrible, horrible human being. My opinion, which is always right, right? So DeSantis signed this bill the other day, yesterday maybe. Where they basically are dissolving the
I'm such a huge fan of this guy. Like
the.
everything he's done in Florida has been
So
just on point.
I really like most of what he does. I'm kind of torn on this Reedy Creek deal.
Okay, what's this about?
Well, the reason I'm torn on it, I don't like the government getting involved in business. Okay. And so what happened was Disney came out opposing a bill that the Republicans had in place over there, that he had in place.
Okay.
They came out opposing it because they're social justice warriors. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you, Disney. Like, if you want to play politics, we'll play politics. And so all of this Reedy Creek that you've been sitting on, we're just going to dissolve that. And your government that basically you've been controlling in these however many square miles this is, some massive amount of mileage there in the middle of Florida that has been basically Disney's control. They're like, nah, we're getting rid of that. So now, kind of cool.
I mean, he's not really. He's not really.
I like that. I like that he did something. I think that the implications caused because of this, the ripple effect has spread out, and you've seen a lot more companies step it back, and they're like, okay, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't be speaking up so much. The problem I have with these companies and all of these fucks that get behind them, I think we just talked about this the other day, where, like, I'm just going to throw out Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't throw out Coca-Cola because I can't even tell you if it's them. But we won't say Coke, just a general
Buzz Cola. Just
company in general, and so they are basically social justice warriors for the LGBTQ movement. Okay, great. They operate in the Middle East too. Are they that way in the Middle East? Absolutely not. Are they putting pride flags on their cans of cola over there or whatever there is that they're selling over there in the Middle East? Absolutely not. And they won't say anything about it over there. But in the US of A, now they're speaking up. So if it was something that you really felt as a company, you really felt strongly about this and you weren't just trying to make money off of the social idea of the time,
right.
you would do it everywhere.
Yeah.
And so if that meant you lost business in the Middle East, you lost business in the Middle East, but at least you're standing on what you believe in. No.
Well,
what they believe in is fucking money.
Right. They're literally just using an agenda to push their product.
Yep.
Because
so,
like you said, if that was the case, they would be trying to spread awareness everywhere rather than just do it in areas that will accept it or are promoting it.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I liked what happened there. But I definitely don't like government getting involved in business like this.
Well, hold on. So do you understand the situation with the government body that Disney had in their area? Like, how did they get their own government body in that area?
What happened was it was part of the deal when Disney was coming to Florida.
Okay.
So they already had set up in California, right?
Right.
And so when they were coming to Florida, part of the deal to get them in was that they were going to take on this Reedy Creek Improvement District is what it was, okay? So by doing this, they would cut through a lot of the red tape that you have to go through. Like every time you wanted to build a new hotel on your property, why you didn't have to get your county officials to come out there and check everything out. And all of this is on them.
Okay.
So that's where it stemmed from, was that they had complete control over it.
So it basically allowed them to build at their leisure without having to jump through 1,000 hoops to do so.
And that meant that they could do stuff a lot more timely.
Okay.
Cost effectively. Okay. And it worked out well for them because, when they went there to begin with, it was basically just swamp area.
Right.
And they built that all up. So part of the deal with that is that did not come out of like taxpayer pockets.
Right.
That was all on them. Okay. But then they had control. Control to the point where like the fire protection services and stuff, that's on them.
Oh.
That's where the other issue I have is that now you have just made it unilaterally
the state's responsibility.
Now it's going to those counties.
Yeah.
Right. That's a pretty big burden. I think that's going to be a pretty big burden. Maybe they're going to figure out a way to do it.
I almost feel like maybe this was just a leverage move on his part, but
I think it was him trying to stick it to Disney.
Oh,
saying,
he's flexing here a little bit.
Yeah, don't screw with me.
Right.
And I get it, but I don't know if he really looked into the financial risk that this is now posing.
Has this been approved?
Yes, he signed it into bill like yesterday, day before yesterday, maybe. So I don't know. It's weird. It's now the taxpayers are going to be responsible. All right, so I don't have the figures in front of me, but it was something like 100 and gosh, I don't want to throw out a number here and be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, wouldn't this, since the fees are going, the counties and the state's going to be responsible for more of this, wouldn't that cause an increase in taxes for the rest of the state?
Yes, and the taxes. I mean, you're talking about like 25%
Oh
increase,
wow.
and I don't even know that that would cover it.
I feel like they should have had some more negotiations to kind of hash this out prior to him pulling the trigger on this.
Uh, yeah,
From a pure business perspective, I mean,
right.
regardless of his political thoughts on the situation, from a business perspective for the state, that's kind of a bad financial move.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think it solidified him as I'm not taking shit from anybody.
I mean, from one from if from this perspective, okay, this is a huge power move to do
Oh yeah,
right before you're trying to run for presidency.
yeah. Well,
I mean,
I don't even know if he was totally committed. Of course, he still hasn't announced, but at
right
that time, I don't know that he was even totally committed to it,
to the
to running.
presidency,
Yeah, he was just trying to be committed to Florida.
right? Which I
And
mean, he's done it. He's done a good job down
yeah,
there for the most part. I don't know about
but
my
this
agreement.
this one thing is where I'm like, man, I don't know if that was such a good move. I like that he's saying screw you, Disney. You know, if you know, like I say, you want to get in politics,
Right.
let's get in politics. All right, let's play. I like that, but
I mean, it's nice to see he won't back down, but then
yeah,
simultaneously, it's like you need to weigh the pros and cons of your actions
right.
here because this is going to have an
So
impact on the actual people that live in this state.
yeah, because they're like the Disney Club members or something. I don't know much about Disney, but um, they they paid that bill.
Right.
Like that was taxed. They were taxed by Disney, right? They taxed themselves, right?
Right.
Um, to cover this cost. And now that it's going to the counties, there. I mean, why would they continue to tax it to pay for this when it's the county's responsibility?
Right.
Um, so
Can't wait to see their property taxes next year.
yeah, I would say that everything's going to go up significantly in that area. I may be wrong, but that's my take on it. I think that he did a pretty good job of sticking it to him, but it might have just stuck it to Florida residents
Right.
at the same time.
I guess
So,
we'll see in the long term.
yep, we'll see. You got anything else for today?
No, that's about it.
All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in another episode. Hope you enjoyed the conversation and maybe even gained a new perspective.
Remember, a fresh cup of coffee is always a good idea. Join us again next time as we continue to explore the world one brew at a time. Be sure to visit our website at brewedperspective.com.
And don't forget to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel and podcast with whatever platform you use. For Brewed Perspective, I'm Justin.
And I'm Kyle, and we'll see you soon.